Stabbing rampage at Sydney Mall. 174 people stranded in cable cars in Turkey are rescued. Fashion designer Roberto Cavalli dies at 83. Middle East airspace closures due to Iran drone attack on Israel. Japanese PM Fumio Kishida addresses U.S. Zoo celebrates birthday of world's oldest gorilla.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Monday, April 15th, and here are your top stories. 7 people are dead and others are in serious or critical condition after a stabbing rampage at a mall in Sydney, Australia on Saturday, according to police. The attacker, who was shot by a lone officer, was among the dead, and a baby among those stabbed. New South Wales Police Commissioner Anthony Cook told a news conference that the attacker walked into the Westfield Bondi Junction Mall at about 3:20 p.m. local time, where he caused harm to about 9 people, stabbing them with the weapon he was carrying. The weapon was most likely a knife, he said.
A spokesperson for New South Wales Ambulance told NBC News that a 9-month-old baby was transported to Sydney Children's Hospital with a pediatric stab wound. Cook said that an inspector near the scene was guided to the offender's location by members of the public. As she pursued him from behind, Cook said the offender turned and the officer shot him. She took the action, saving a range of people's lives, he added. He said the offender's motives were not clear, but he acted alone and that there was no continuing threat. Surveillance video showed a man running through the mall holding a long knife. Reports from local media described chaos, as some shoppers fled and others attempted to stop the man. Some shops reportedly pulled down their shutters, sequestering some people inside in order to keep them safe.
The last of 174 people stranded in cable cars high above a mountain in southern Turkey were brought to safety Saturday, nearly 23 hours after one pod hit a pole and burst open, killing 1 person and injuring 7 when they plummeted to the rocks below. A total of 607 search and rescue personnel and 10 helicopters were involved, including teams from Turkey's Emergency Response Agency, AFAD, the Coast Guard, firefighting teams, and mountain rescue teams from different parts of Turkey. Officials said helicopters with night vision capabilities had continued rescuing people throughout the night.
The stranded people had been stuck on the Tunik Tepe cable car, just outside the Mediterranean city of Antalya, since 5:30 p.m. on Friday, when the accident occurred. Friday was the final day of a 3-day public holiday in Turkey, marking the end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which sees families flock to coastal resorts. The cable car carries tourists from Konyaaltı Beach to a restaurant and viewing platform at the summit of the 2,010-foot Tunik Tepe peak. It is run by Antalya Metropolitan Municipality. The cable car line was completed in 2017 and receives a major inspection around the beginning of the year, as well as routine inspections throughout the year. An expert commission including mechanical and electrical engineers and health and safety experts was assigned to determine the cause of the incident.
Roberto Cavalli, the Italian fashion designer known for his glamorous designs and animal prints, has died, his company announced in a post on social media Friday. Cavalli was 83. It is with great sadness that today we say our final goodbyes to our founder Roberto Cavalli, the Instagram post said. From humble beginnings in Florence, Roberto succeeded in becoming a globally recognized name, loved and respected by all. Naturally talented and creative, Roberto believed that everyone can discover and nurture the artist within themselves. Roberto Cavalli's legacy will live on via his creativity, his love of nature, and via his family, who he cherished, it read.
Born in Florence on November 15, 1940, from a family of artists, Cavalli was orphaned of his father at just 4 years old, as he was killed in a Nazi roundup known as the Cavrilia Massacre in 1944. Cavalli became renowned in the early 1970s for his animal prints and an excessive, sexy style that remained his trademark throughout his long career. After founding his own fashion house in the early 1970s, Cavalli quickly became an iconic brand, loved by top celebrities like Madonna, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Beyoncé. As his fashion house recalled on Friday, Cavalli once explained his animalier inspiration with a popular quote, "I copy the dress of an animal because I love to copy God. I think God is the most fantastic designer." He stepped back from designing about a decade ago, after ceding 90% of the company to the Kishida private equity group. The company is now controlled by Oriel Investment SA.
Airspace reopened, allowing flights throughout the Middle East to resume on Sunday, but dozens of others were canceled after Iran attacked Israel with drones and missiles overnight, after a suspected Israeli strike in Syria earlier this month that killed several top Iranian officials. Israel's El Al canceled more than 20 Sunday flights, though some were still operating. Two El Al flights headed for Israel from Thailand on Saturday had diverted to Bangkok. The carrier told passengers not to come to the Tel Aviv airport until notified.
Emirates Airline canceled one of its Dubai-Amman flights, which was scheduled for Sunday, but flew two others. Air France and British Airways canceled Tel Aviv flights on Sunday. British Airways also scrubbed a flight to Amman. Lufthansa canceled its service to and from Tel Aviv, Erbil, Iraq and Amman through Monday and plans to resume service on Tuesday, though its Beirut and Tehran flights are suspended until at least Thursday, it said. Some flights avoided large swaths of airspace in the Middle East, reroutes that delayed some planes, Swiss International Airlines said. The reroutes are the latest challenge for airlines that in recent years have had to change flight plans in the wake of Russia's attack on Ukraine, which can add to flight time and fuel costs.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida asserted in an address to a joint meeting of Congress on Thursday that his country stands with the U.S. at a time when history is at a turning point. Kishida said the U.S. held a certain reputation decades ago that shaped the international order and championed freedom and democracy. You believe that freedom is the oxygen of humanity, he said. The world needs the United States to continue playing this pivotal role in the affairs of nations. And yet, as we meet here today, I detect an undercurrent of self-doubt among some Americans about what your role in the world should be.
Kishida said that is happening when the world is at history's turning point, as freedom and democracy are currently under threat around the globe. Climate change is causing natural disasters, and technology such as artificial intelligence is advancing. Japan faces an unprecedented and the greatest strategic challenge from China, he said. He also spoke about the threats from North Korea and from Russia in Ukraine. Kishida shared that he has felt a special connection to the U.S. since he attended his first 3 years of elementary school in Queens. It was only the second time a Japanese prime minister has formally delivered remarks to Congress. The first time in 2015, when Shinzo Abe spoke with Kishida in attendance as a foreign minister. Abe was assassinated in 2022.
Berlin Zoo is celebrating the 67th birthday of Fatu the gorilla, its oldest resident, who it believes is also the oldest gorilla in the world. Fatu was born in 1957 and came to the zoo in what was then West Berlin in 1959. Ahead of her official birthday on Saturday, keepers on Friday served up a treat of fruit and vegetables. Vet Andre Schul said there is no gorilla older than Fatu in another zoo, and we have to assume that there is no animal older than her in the wild, where animals do not live so long.
Fatu lives in an enclosure of her own and prefers to keep her distance from the zoo's other gorillas in her old age. Fatu became the zoo's oldest resident only recently, following the death earlier this year of Ingo the flamingo. The bird was believed to be at least 75 and had lived at the zoo since 1955. Gorillas herbivorous, predominantly ground-dwelling great apes that inhabit the tropical forests of equatorial Africa. Gorillas are the largest living primates, reaching heights between 1.25 and 1.8 meters, weights between 100 and 270 kilograms, and arm spans up to 2.6 meters, depending on species and sex. A gorilla's lifespan is normally between 35 and 40 years, although zoo gorillas may live for 50 years or more.
The answer for last Friday is A, uncharacteristically. The children have been uncharacteristically quiet. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of stabbing Rampage at Sydney Mall. Number 1, Rampage. 暴跳如雷，狂暴行为. Gangs of youths went on the rampage in the city yesterday. Number 2, critical. 严重的，不稳定，可能有危险的. The first 24 hours after the operation are the most critical. Number 3, pediatric. 小儿科的. He completed his pediatric residency at Stanford University Hospital. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.